Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Adventures in Osaka. So, starting with a recap of the past week, I will actually begin with the Sunday directly following last week's video because it entailed my trip to Kyoto, which is also in the Kansai region, prefecture, just like Osaka is. And so, the reason it wasn't in the previous video is because the last week's video had actually been recorded on Saturday evening, and our trip to Kyoto followed very close by the next morning. So when we went, kind of our priority was the Fushimi Inari Taisha Shrine, which is one of the most famous shrines in Japan. It's dedicated to the rice/fertility goddess Inari, who is, kind of the patron goddess of food, so she's kind of important. So her shrine is very large, and her kind of familiar is the fox. So in the entire area around the shrine, like even the train station, there are foxes decorating everything. And it's actually pretty cool. The shrine is famous for the Senbon Tori, which you see in so many picturesque picture compilations of Japan, of these orange gates leading up. And those are all dedicated by companies kind of praying for success in their business. So they donate one of these gates to kind of like encourage the goddess to help them with success in their business. We decided to climb the entire mountain all the way up and visit the many kind of mini shrines that scatter the whole mountain, because obviously Inari is the most important god on Inariyama, but there are kind of sub shrines all the way up and all the way down, and you can stop at many of those. The shrine at the very, very top, also dedicated to Inari, was actually kind of a letdown, because we were thinking, we got halfway up and that's where a lot of people stop, but we're going to go all the way to the top and it's going to be great. Actually, it was kind of underwhelming because the shrine at the top of the mountain is surrounded by vegetation and trees, so you can't actually really see around you, so there's no real fantastic view at the top of the mountain. You just kind of like look down the path on the other side of what you just came up from and go, oh, I guess that's the way down. Okay. There's still the feeling of accomplishment of, haha, I have made it all the way to the top. Then we made our way down, and I stopped at one of the sub-shrines dedicated to the zodiac animals, because I seem to have a lot of dreams with rats in them, having been born in the year of the rat. Not necessarily scary ones, just a lot of dreams with rats in them, which is weird because I don't actually spend a whole lot of time thinking about rats, unless I have a dream about them. So I figured stopping to pay my respects to the zodiac rat couldn't hurt, even though this is the year of the dog. Then we made our way to Gion, which is kind of the famous entertainment district in Kyoto. If you go during the right time of day, that's a place where you can occasionally see geisha walking around. We were not there at the correct time of day, but it's still a very pretty, very picturesque area. There's the nearby Yasuka Shrine. I keep wanting to say Yakuza Shrine, which is totally different because it sounds like Yakuza, and that is not what I'm trying to say. Yasuka Jinja, which is dedicated to Susanoo, I think. I tried looking it up and I got a bunch of different answers. Apparently the god of good health, known for the Gion festival, where people actually kind of take these portable temples that kind of house the god's spirit and parade them through the town. Apparently it is a festival honoring this one time where I think there was an epidemic in the city of Kyoto, and they wanted to use the god's influence to kind of purify the city, so they carried the god with them through the city. I think I could be getting some of those details wrong. My Japanese is not yet super great. But I will not be here for the Gion Festival because that takes place in the summer. But one of the nearby sites we did go see, which is the Maruyama Koen, or Maruyama Park, which is this humongous park, and it's very picturesque. It's one of the greatest places to go see the cherry blossoms and the plum blossoms in the spring. So hopefully we can go back to Kyoto and see those. We do not have class on Monday, so we are going to go back to Kyoto, but this time with a different group of people, and possibly going to see some other things. But I'm excited because Kyoto is gorgeous, and I'm really happy I decided to stay for my study abroad in the Kansai region instead of Tokyo, because I'm sure there are plenty of interesting things to see in Tokyo, but there's just so much history and character in the Kansai region, and I'm really totally in love. I feel like if I come back to Japan for whatever reason, I'm thinking of doing the JET program, or Japanese English teaching program. I'm kind of hoping that I come back to Osaka, or at least the Kansai region, because I just adore it so much. Kind of moving on into the rest of the week. Tuesday was pretty normal. Wednesday, we were actually, and I say we meaning the international students, were invited to a party at one of the host families' houses. Just not for a particular reason, just because they wanted to make everyone feel welcome. I do not stay with a host family. I live in a small apartment, but some other international students do, and so their family invited us to go visit them, and they gave us so much food, and it was delicious, and they made us kind of like rotate seats every once in a while, just so that we could have conversations with the different Japanese members of the family and visitors, and there was just so many people there, but it was a beautiful house, and the food was so good. I definitely outed myself as a sports anime fan, because one of the international students staying with the host family was talking with the son of the family about manga, and they were talking about sports manga, and I heard Diana Ace and went, what? Diana Ace? And he went, what, you know Diana Ace? And I'm like, I love Diana Ace. And so then there was the conversation of, wait, you watch sports anime? And I went, yeah, I watch a lot of sports anime. And then, yeah, so I think I'm now known to that family as the sports anime girl. On Friday, we decided, because we only had our morning Japanese classes, so we would have a lot of free time, we decided that we would go have ramen, and there was this one place that one of the other international students had visited before, so she took us there, and it was so good. Like, I took one bite and I was like, oh. Honestly, like, I swear to God, having stuff like that will make you never want to eat instant ramen ever again. Part of it is, I think, because that shop makes its own ramen noodles, so it's like fresh, and you get so many options. And you can actually get the first refill is free, and after that, each subsequent refill of the bowl is 100 yen of noodles, not like a full like new broth and everything, but you have your old broth and you just put more noodles in it. So pretty great deal, and some really good food. I would definitely recommend that restaurant. Ramen is not necessarily a cheap food, at least not any cheaper than any other restaurant food you would find around here, but it is definitely worth the price. So then today we decided to go to Shinsaibashi. I'm totally demolishing that. Hang on, give me a second. Shinsaibashi, which is another area in Osaka, kind of a big city shopping district area, and we spent all day there because there are a lot of deals going on, like, all the time. So clothes in Japan are actually pretty cheap. Like, even shoes, like, I can get a decent pair of shoes pretty easily for like $10. And I'm talking like a nice pair of shoes, and I would spend like $40 for that back home. So clothes are actually pretty cheap. And so it was really hard to avoid the temptation of spending money. I am actually burning through money a lot faster than I anticipated when I was planning my trip to Japan, but it's okay. I have money set aside just in case that does happen, and I am in control of that. So it is okay. Don't worry. We spent all day today shopping, trying some new foods again, and just kind of walking around and playing Pokemon Go. Like, all of us play Pokemon Go. We're a group of nerds, me and my closest friends here. So yeah, that's kind of the week. Tomorrow we are actually through the school going to go see somebody making mochi, which is this extremely invigorating process, more than you think. Mochi are rice cakes, not always sweet, but they can be. That you pound with these hammers, and it's grueling work. It looks like we passed by someone making mochi one time on our way to Nara. We saw it kind of through a group of people. So this time we're actually gonna get front row seats and watch. And that will be tomorrow. So I will report on how that goes. Moving on into things that are a little bit surprising here in Japan, or things that I've noticed. As I mentioned before, clothes are actually pretty dang cheap compared to back home. And I mean, especially if you're not super concerned about being brand name, although brand name items are also a little bit cheaper here than they would be back home. Like, if you're not really concerned about name brand or name value, you can actually get a lot of pretty decent clothes for pretty cheap. Like, I got a whole bunch of cute outfits, or at least shirts, plus a nice hat for about like $30. So all that together would probably cost me like double that back home. So I'm feeling pretty good. And the hat was because the only hat I have is an anime hat, and I'm trying to keep my otaku-ness on the down low while I'm here, although I haven't been doing super great at that, but I'm trying. Everywhere in Japan, you have the Japan Railway System, the JR line, that will pretty much take you anywhere, but the nice thing about Kansai is here in the Kansai region we have the Hankyu line, which was founded by this one like business mogul genius a while ago who decided that the JR line was ineffective and confusing, because it is. And so he would make his own half-speed line. So that is actually pretty nice. The Hankyu line is much easier to follow than the JR line, because you're always changing stations or changing trains in the JR line and getting confused. Wait, is this an express train or not? Is this loop? Oh my god, it's so confusing. Oh, slurping of noodles. You hear kind of often back home, like, oh, listen, like here in Japan, there's this like custom, like it's not rude to slurp when you eat, it's actually compliments to the chef. And I bought into that, and I apologize, because that's actually not true. Like, it's not a lie exactly. It's not that slurping your food is polite, it's just not rude, it's not stigmatized. So it's not that people like slurp their food to be rude. It's just normal. When you go to a relatively cheap drugstore rather than a department store, there are a lot of Chinese people. Like I walked in the store and like everybody was talking Chinese, and I'm like, am I still in Osaka? Really? Not like that's a bad thing. I wasn't like angry or upset. I was just a little surprised. I'm like, wow, I did not realize that there were this many Chinese people in Osaka. There, and which made it nice for the people that I was hanging out with, because they could, for once, kind of comfortably figure things out. I guess kind of the conclusion I'm going to have with this is I've only been here a month, and it's already actually getting harder for me to notice things that are different. Like, Japan is starting to become the norm for me, and it's not until somebody asks me about this very specific thing and what we would do, and I have to stop and think like, oh yeah, that is different from back home, isn't it? So it really actually has not taken me that long to um, think of Japan as my norm, even though I'm only going to be here for a few months, but I adjust pretty quickly. Um, so I'm really happy I came, and I'm enjoying my stay. I just need to make sure I don't blow my money faster than uh, faster than I can save it when I get back home. So that will conclude this week's video. I will enjoy my time watching mochi making tomorrow, and exploring Kyoto on Monday, and I will see you all next